All right, everyone. Happy Tuesday. How is everyone doing? I'm super excited to be on today because we are going to be talking about a very important topic, which is sleep. Um, we are day 2 of our 21-day body transformation kickstart challenge. And I wanted to talk about sleep because one of the key habits that we are working on throughout this challenge is to get better quality sleep, to improve our sleep hygiene, to improve our sleep routine, to really help you create an environment so that you can get better quality sleep. So I did wanted to do a full live training on this. So for those of you that are watching live right now, please say hello in the comment section. Let me know who's here so I don't feel like I'm talking to myself all the time. So what I'll be doing is monitoring on the on my phone here. I'll be monitoring any questions that any of you may have. And I see that Val is already joining us today. And so we're going to talk about this really, really important aspect of our lives, which we do pretty much every single day. So it's really important. So there is this one thing that you might be overlooking that could be preventing you from losing fat, and it has really nothing to do with how many calories you're eating or how many workouts you're doing. It was actually the exact thing that needed to change for not only one of my clients. I'm going to give an example of one of my particular clients, but for many of our clients. Okay. So this particular client, she came to work with me in the beginning of 2023, and she is just about to graduate from our program, looking incredible, by the way. And so one of the things that she was struggling with is brain fog, low energy, and never feeling well rested. And even though she was working out and staying consistent with her calorie intake, she found her stuff really stuck in a frustrating battle with fat loss for years with really no visible results. So once we started working together, one of the things that I do is that I do an assessment with each of our clients, which those of you that are part of our challenge are also going to get the privilege of having this assessment done by myself as well too. So what I do is identify the root issues. Okay, I look at your overall metabolic health. Why? Because your metabolism was what's going to decide whether your body is going to lose body fat or not. Hormones also play a big role on this as well too. And so it's not always just about I got to eat better, okay? It's not always just about calories and working out. There are many other factors that need to be considered when it comes to fat loss, okay? So she was really surprised that one of the things that was holding her back was her sleep. She was only getting about 5 to 6 hours of sleep, going to bed past midnight, waking up at 5 o'clock. And she couldn't believe that her fat loss resistance was due to her poor sleep schedule. Now, sleep impacts everything from workout results to hormones, mood, energy levels, and pain response. It's helpful to view sleep as the body's reset process. And most women need anywhere between 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night to function optimally. So we actually go through a 4-stage sleep cycle that takes place every night. And these different phases of sleep enable the brain to recharge and replenish the energy stores it needs to function. In turn, keeping the body really well rested and functioning during the day. So sleep can be a really big pain point for women that are going through the menopausal transition, either in perimenopause or postmenopause. We know that 40 to 60% of menopausal women have sleep difficulties, with either waking up after falling asleep being the common, it's even been suggested that sleep difficulties are the core symptom of menopause that makes all of the other symptoms worse. Okay. So this is why we really want to be focusing on this. This is why we're focusing on this in our challenge. The other significant sleep issue menopausal women often face, simply not getting enough hours of rest, Many of the women enrolled in our one-on-one coaching program tell us their sleep suffers because they find it hard to go to bed early enough. Okay, and who can really blame them after a long day, perhaps followed by looking after their children, maybe caregiving for their parents, taking care of household chores, and they might be looking forward to watching a few hours of Netflix or mindless phone scrolling. And there's really nothing wrong with that, except that that 1 hour easily becomes multiple hours, causing them to stay up later than planned. So what are some of the side effects of sleep deprivation in addition to worsening of the other menopausal symptoms? Are reduced energy, heightened pain sensitivity. Sleep deprivation can lead to other troublesome and far-reaching side effects that includes compromised cognition, amplified mood swings and mental health struggles, increased stress, disrupted appetite and weight gain, stalled training and recovery, and worsened overall health. So let's take a look at each and every one of these categories. So compromised cognition. When we're tired, we tend to be reactive, rigid, and basically we revert to grumpy toddlers. How many of you remember when our toddlers didn't have a nap, how they behaved? They were crazy. Okay, they were crazy when they didn't have that nap time, and we're no different. Okay, just maybe we can handle our emotions a little bit better because we're adults. But everything seems harder when our sleep state sinks, particularly complex physiological and cognitive tasks like making judgments, managing information, or considering new ideas. We also struggle to consolidate new information, affecting the formation of those new memories, okay? So add this to the hormonal cognitive changes that can occur during menopause, because as we go through menopause, we lose estrogen and progesterone, and these estrogen and progesterone receptors are also in the brain. And it's common for sleep-deprived menopausal women to feel like they have brain fog, like their memory or recall is impaired, or like they are not functioning at the normal cognitive level that they normally are at. Who here can relate to that? I know I can. That is one of my biggest symptoms as I go through perimenopause right now, is that I feel that I have a lot more brain fog. So hi Nancy, thanks for joining. Elaine, and also Christine Portal. Nice to see you, Christine. So let's talk about amplified mood swings. So if you ever had a rough night's sleep followed by an equally rough day, you know the impact the lack of sleep can have on your mood. Hormonal changes can already make menopausal women feel like she's an emotional roller coaster. Okay, how many of you are feeling that right now? Like 1 minute you're happy, 1 minute you're sad, 1 minute you're full of rage. Then we want to add in the lack of sleep, and that's really a recipe for a turbulent day. Notably, many menopausal women say they are more prone to feelings of anger, frustration, irritability, lack of sleep. May also contribute to these feelings, making the experience even worse. Okay, next up, let's talk about increased stress. So poor sleep can be a powerful stressor. You've probably noticed that the only thing that feels worse than being stressed out is being stressed out and completely exhausted. How many of you have ever been on a very long flight somewhere? Maybe you've like taken, 12, 13, 14 hours to travel where you want to be. Like how tired and stressful are you after that? Poor sleep, in addition to being stressful in of itself, can make stressful life events seem even more stressful. Okay, and they seem to someone who isn't sleep deprived. So in turn, stressful life events can also affect the quality of sleep, leading to very vicious cycle. This increase in stress hormone triggered by poor sleep leads to an increased sympathetic nervous system activity. This is what we call the flight or chronic sympathetic nervous system activity. So chronic stress can lead to a host of issues, including worse sleep, anxiety, increased hot flashes, increased blood pressure, and more unless we're being chased by a bear, we need to promote more of a parasympathetic activity as a counterbalance. Okay. This is why I talked a lot about yesterday is like estrogen and progesterone help us with managing cortisol levels. Now, when we start losing estrogen and progesterone during perimenopause and menopause, the lack of sleep just brings up this cortisol levels even higher. It really causes this chronic stress. And so we really need to counterbalance that and support our bodies in doing basic life sustaining tasks like digestion and recovery tasks. Hence, that's why we call it the rest and digest system. Okay, so a lot of more recovery activities and getting better quality sleep can help with that. So the other major thing in terms of how disrupted sleep can affect us is it can disrupt our appetite, and with that may come weight gain. So sleep deprivation disrupts the hormones that regulate appetite, and it can increase the sympathetic nervous system activity that we just talked about, okay? So that flight or flight mode. When this happens, glucose tolerance decreases, even cortisol levels are higher, and appetite increase due to lower leptin and an increase in ghrelin, often resulting in strong desire for energy-dense foods. Okay, so ghrelin is the hunger hormone, leptin is the hormone that helps you feel full. Okay, so if these two are disrupted, I don't know if any of you, some of you of my clients, that I say like, hey, if you haven't had a good night's sleep, prepare yourself because today you're going to be you're going to be more hungry and you're going to have more cravings. And the reason for that is because of the lack of sleep. It dysregulates these hormones. Okay, so in addition to feeling hungrier than usual and having stronger cravings, we also may not recognize we're full because of that leptin hormone being lowered. This leads many women to reach for calorie-loaded beverages or highly processed foods that are high in sugar or fat and lacking in important nutrients and eat more of them than usual. And while these foods can provide a hint of instant gratification, chances are they don't align with your long-term goals, which might be you want to improve your body composition, maybe you want to lose body fat. So this perfect storm created by inadequate sleep can lead to or stall or even increase body fat. So the other thing that this affects is stalled training and recovery. So getting enough rest not only helps us sustain the willpower to get exercise in, but it also provides us with the physical energy necessary to train hard. Plus, plenty of good sleep is one of the most best things that you could do to help yourself in terms of physical recovery from strength training sessions. So more sleep means better training sessions and faster recovery. Sleep means worse training sessions and slower recovery, okay? Sorry, less sleep means worse training sessions and slower recovery. So if your goal is to get stronger, gain muscle mass, lose body fat, or a combination of all three, sleep is essential. So the other thing that can happen by being sleep deprived is it can lead to an increase of cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, obesity, heart attack, and stroke. Okay. So I just covered how sleep deprivation can affect these major areas of your life. Okay. So now let's talk about some actionable steps on how you can actually get better quality sleep. So for those of you that are watching right now, hi, Misty, thank you so much. And she says, I don't sleep well and I usually have a lot of cravings or I overeat or I want lots of sweet. Very common, very, very common for women and so like, this is kind of like, you can see how sleep plays such a big role in why we're focusing on getting better quality sleep throughout this challenge is because like, we want to take care of the foundational, like the root cause of what is holding you back from seeing, like the fat loss results. So if you're sleeping like crap and you're trying to do a diet, but your hunger and cravings are like through the roof, that you can't manage that, then it becomes really hard to do a diet. Then on top of that, You have menopausal symptoms that make hunger craving symptoms even worse. Then on top of that, you're trying to get a workout in. And so like you don't have the energy to get the workout in because your sleep was poor. So you can see how this is like a very vicious cycle. So this is why I say it's not always just about workouts and exercise. We got to get to the root cause of what is holding you back and address that first. Okay, this is why you could go and do all these diet programs and they don't work for you. They're not addressing the root cause. It's a cookie cutter program given to everyone when you really need to look at what's going on in your life and address those things. Okay, so for those of you that are watching live right now, pay very close attention to this next part because I'm going to be giving actionable steps. And as I give you these actionable steps, I want you to write one or two things that come to mind that you're like, oh, you know what? That's something that I can do. Okay. Because I'm going to be asking you. So how can we get better quality sleep? So unfortunately, we can never control exactly how much sleep we get or how we will sleep because some variables like environmental disruptions, night sweats are more or less out of our control. If you're having night sweats, hot flashes, maybe your kids are coming into your room, these things are out of your control. So while we may not be able to permanently banish hot flashes or get a glorious uninterrupted 9 hours of rest, excuse me, I gotta get a sip of water. I have another cough. Thanks to my kids going back to school. Okay. So getting that glorious uninterrupted 9 hours of rest, we can improve your sleep behaviors to increase the likelihood of good quality shut-eye. And we can help implement tailored sleep strategies. And when we implement these tailored sleep strategies, other menopausal symptoms may calm down too, okay? So the first one that we're gonna go over is creating a bedtime ritual. So for those of you that are watching live right now, think of which one of these things you can implement right away. So an ideal nighttime ritual, you will go to bed. Some things that you will do is that you're going to go to bed at the same time every night within 30 minutes, ideally well before midnight, and ideally at an hour that will help you get a minimum of 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Okay. So if you are one that wakes up at 7, make sure you're planning to go to bed by 11 p.m. And one thing that we could do is set an alarm 1 hour before bedtime. And again, another 15 minutes before bedtime to remind you that it's time to start winding down. And guess what we're doing in this challenge? We're setting an alarm 1 hour before bedtime. So if you're in a challenge, you're already doing this one. The second thing that you may want to do is to wake up at the same time every morning within 30 minutes, even on weekends. This practice, particularly when combined with getting morning sunlight, helps to set the circadian rhythm and make positively impact sleep quality over health and cognition. Okay, the other thing that you could do is to allow 30 to 60 minutes to relax before bed. This may include writing in a journal or jotting down the next day's to-do list in a daily planner. You may also want to try a brain dump session, getting all your thoughts out of your head by writing them down. It can really help quiet the mind and keep it from spinning while trying to fall asleep. Some women may also find hot baths very soothing before bed. Personally, myself, I like a bath or a very hot shower before bed. So to help prepare for a nighttime ritual, I want you to ask yourself these questions. Okay. What time will you go to sleep? What time are you going to wake up every day? What would you enjoy during your relaxation time? And how can you make your evening routine feel more ceremonial and special so that you're more likely to do it and feel ready for sleep? So for example, do you have a nice candles that you want to light as you read before bed? We don't want to try and overhaul your entire routine at once. Rather, identify some simple changes that you feel ready to make and start taking action on. That is where you want to start. And over time, a bedtime ritual will help you enjoy more restful evenings, improve your sleep, and help you have more energy in the mornings. So for those of you that are watching live right now, out of the things that I just talked about when it comes to bedtime ritual, which one of these things can you find yourself implementing right away? So just jot it and put it in the comment section. Which one of those bedtime rituals can you find your feel that is something that you could do right away? One of them. Put it in the comment section, please. Okay, so now let's talk about sleep hygiene. So we have sleep routine ritual. Now we have practice good sleep hygiene. Staying up late to snack, watch TV, or social media can interrupt your body's normal sleep cycle. This may lead to you feeling exhausted in the morning when you're drinking lots of coffee and attempt to feel alert and then feel wired again come nighttime. This can become a very vicious cycle. So sleep hygiene refers to the habits and practices that are conducive to getting a good night's sleep. And practicing good sleep hygiene leads to better sleep, while poor sleep can hinder and lead to worse sleep, okay? So if you struggle with sleep hygiene and you're willing to make some changes, you can pick a skill or two from the following list, and you can practice implementing it for a week or two to see how you feel. So number one is avoid caffeine and other stimulants past 12 p.m. Number two is avoid alcohol 3 to 4 hours before bed. Alcohol can disrupt your circadian rhythm and the sleep cycle, leading to an imbalance in how long someone spends in each sleep cycle. You want to limit the use of electronic devices for 1 hour before bed, including e-readers. So if you're doing our challenge, this is something that we're implementing next week. If you are using electronics late at night, you could try using setting that blocks out blue light, or wear glasses that block blue light. There's those glasses that you can get that are blue light blocker glasses. Use light to your advantage. So you want to dim the lights 1 hour before bed. And the other thing too is you want to save high effort exercise for morning or afternoon, ideally at least 3 to 6 hours before bedtime. Instead of a late night, these types of exercises tends to amp up mentally and physically and can stimulate hormones that can interfere with sleep. However, low and slow exercises like a leisurely stroll or restorative yoga or stretching may be perfect choice for evening movement. The other thing is exercise and eat at approximately, sorry, I'm going to sneeze again. I'm not feeling good. Hang on. Oh, maybe not. Am I going to sneeze? I thought I was. Okay, I was not. Okay, so the other thing is you want to be exercising and eating at approximately the same times every day to regulate circadian rhythms. And these also cue timekeepers that help signal the circadian clock to stay on track. The other one is setting a recurring timer that shuts off social media apps, say at a certain time every evening. And if you do need to keep your phone nearby, turn off all your notifications off. Make sure not to check your phone, text messages, social media, or email during the night if you wake up. Set a recurring timer on the TV so it turns off automatically 1 hour before bed. And get at least 5 to 10 minutes of natural morning light every day. Alternatively, if you live in an area that you don't have access to that morning light, you can try 15 to 30 minutes of light therapy with a 10,000 lux light, okay? So now out of these sleep hygiene suggestions or this list, what is one thing that you could do to implement for better sleep hygiene? I'm gonna go back here and look at what you do here. Okay, oh, we got lots of years, okay. So we said for me, writing down my next day's to-do list. Awesome. Going to bed at the same time every night. Great job, Christine. I spend too much time on my phone before bed. I would like to start reading before bed. I like your idea of making the next day's to-do list. Definitely my to-do list. It clears my mind. Wow, lots of you like that to-do list. I think a lot of us are worrying about what we need to do the next day, right? Val says reading. I need to work on actually going to sleep. I lay down between 9 to 10ish most nights, but it will be 11:30 or way later before I'm even ready to fall asleep. Yeah, so Misty, you might want to start implementing some of these strategies to really help prepare your body for a good night's sleep. The other thing that I actually didn't mention here that you could do is actually have a bedtime snack. So eating like a bit of a carb about 1.5 hour, 2 hours before bed can actually help reduce cortisol levels, and if you combine that with a little bit of protein, it could also help with regulating blood sugar levels that might spike and keep you up in the middle of the night. So that's another thing that you could actually try as well too, is kind of like a bedtime snack, okay? So now the third category that we want to look at is optimizing your sleep environment. So the number one, you want to use your bed for sleep only or other activities, other intimate activities, but we want to avoid using the bed to work, watch TV, read, unless it's only for a few minutes before going to sleep, or we want to avoid playing video games in your bed. Keep the bedroom dark. If there's an unavoidable light in the bedroom, try using an eye mask or light blocking window shades. Keep the bedroom quiet. Earplugs or a fan or white noise machine or an app may help to reduce disruptive noise. Keep the bed comfortable. You should have a mattress that is comfortable and restful. If not, you might want to find a supportive bed or mattress topper if it's within your budget. You want to keep the room cool, warm, cool. A warm bedroom can lead to wakefulness and sleep disruptions. Plus, a cool room may help if you are prone to hot flashes and night sweats. You want to keep electronic devices outside of the bedroom. Many electronic devices emit light even when off, and they're tempting to use if nearby. So try and keep your cell phone outside of the bedroom or keep it on airplane mode. Additionally, you may want to plan for sleep disruptions, okay? And what I mean for that is, like, for example, if you're waking up sweating with night sweats and soaked pajamas, you might want to keep a clean pair of pajamas or maybe even a pillowcase and sheets on standby so that you can get back to sleep as quickly as possible. So you may want to invest in a sleep controlled sleep pad that, you know, you might be able to keep your mattress cool all night long with sheets made of moisture wicking material. The other thing that you could do is practice breathing strategies. So certain breathing techniques can help you fall asleep faster. So if you wake up in the night, and one of them that I recommend is the 4-7-8 count. So with your mouth closed, you want to inhale deeply through your nose. So you guys can try this with me. So with your mouth closed, you want to inhale deeply through your nose. So and count to 4. So, and then we're going to hold the breath for 7 seconds. And then we are going to open the lips and exhale out of the mouth for a count of 8. Very slowly. You can repeat this cadence until you drift off to sleep. So that's the 4-7-8 breathing techniques. So out of these ones here, ladies, of optimizing your sleep environment, which one of these can you work on? Just hopping on now, but need to put my phone aside way before I go to sleep. Awesome. Yes, magnesium really helps as well too. That is a supplement you could take before bed. I recommend the magnesium Can-Prev biglycinate. You can also take like 2 to 800 milligrams. Start off with 200 milligrams and then work yourself up. You can also consult with your doctor about that before, and I would recommend that you do that before you take a supplement. But yeah, out of these ones that I just talked about in terms of optimizing your sleep environment, please comment in the comment section something that you can do, one thing that you can feel that you can implement. So I want to get back to my client example that I first talked about in the beginning. So she was only sleeping 5 to 6 hours of sleep. So I did explain to her, everything that I talked to you about, how chronic sleep deprivation increases cravings for quick energy sources, but also significantly reduces that willpower, make it even harder to stick to healthy nutritional choices. Okay, so to address this, we implemented strategies for better quality sleep, including consistent bedtime schedule, setting a bedtime alarm, preparing that to-do list. Everybody likes that to-do list the night before to prevent middle of the night worries or worries before she went to bed. So stress, particularly heightened by sleep deprivation, can also disrupt your metabolism and deprioritize fat loss, which is a factor even more critical for women over 40 going through perimenopause and menopause. So with our Frenza Fit 101 coaching program, we offer more than just workout programs and meal plans. Okay, we evaluate all of the factors affecting your metabolism, how hormones is affecting your body's ability to shed body fat. And since your metabolism is incredibly sensitive to stress, doesn't it make sense to minimize stress to optimize your metabolic performance? So by combining this approach, we helped her lose 10 pounds, 25 inches. We helped her sculpt an hourglass figure, define muscle, and achieving the appearance she desired for years. Okay, she'd been trying, I think she told me 30 years on her own. And then she finally came to us for help. So this is exactly how we helped her through to get her the goals that she wanted. I'll share her transformation. She's okay with me doing this. I'm keeping her name private, but she told me I can share her transformation photos. So you can see how we helped her. Okay, so these are some before and after photos. She's one of our one-on-one coaching clients, and she's just about to graduate from our program. She now has all the tools to do this for the rest of her life and never have to do another program again. She had been dieting and tried multiple programs, she told me, for 30 years since she was like basically a teenager. And she worked out so hard, but she never looked like she worked out hard. And now she does. Like, look at her incredible physique that we've been able to help shape and form for her. Okay, we got her that beautiful hourglass figure. Okay, and so the way that we did this, guys, is we took her through our one-on-one coaching program. Okay, so the first thing is that we took her through our metabolic restoration phase. So this is the phase where we address the root cause of what's holding you back. So for her, better quality sleep, we needed to address that. Her body was not going to respond to fat loss if she wasn't sleeping well. We addressed that right away. Boosting metabolic function through quality nutrition and muscle building exercise to increase her metabolic rate and calories burned at rest. So what we first do is we address the root cause. We remove any stress from the system. So whether that stress is coming from hormonal symptoms, whether that stress is coming from lack of sleep, whatever the case may be, we address the root cause. We then start working on improving your metabolic health, creating a fat burning machine with your metabolism. Okay, we get to the root cause first and we fix that first. Because if you don't do that, it doesn't matter what program you go out and do. If you are not addressing these issues first, nothing will work for you. And you can see that because if you've tried, like, look at our client. She tried multiple diets before in the past, multiple programs. Nothing worked for her because nobody ever talked to her about sleep and the other things that were going on. It wasn't just sleep. There was other things as well, too, other root causes that we were addressing for her. Her metabolism needed to be restored because of all of the years of dieting that she had done before in the past. So we helped and we improved her metabolic health. We created that fat burning metabolism. And then we put her into our next phase of our program, which is the lean out phase. And this is where, because now her metabolism is functioning well, you know, we solved the issue of her internal mechanisms working properly, then her body was much more responsive to fat loss, okay? And so we put her through a very strategic fat loss phase where we helped her just lose body fat. We make sure we're preserving as much muscle as possible because that is how we're going to keep your metabolism revving high. And also, the more muscle you have on your body, the better your body looks as well too. And that's how we helped her create that beautiful hourglass figure. Now, the last phase, which is she's in right now, is called sustain. So before she graduates from our program, we are teaching her now intuitive eating. So we took away, like, we're not weighing and measuring our food anymore. Everything she's learned from our program. She knows what her portion sizes look like. We're now teaching her what her maintenance calories look like. She knows how to work out. And literally, this is going to be the last program that she ever does in her life. And she finally knows now how to manage everything, all of her lifestyle habits. We've created a complete lifestyle that works good for her. And now she knows how to maintain her results forever. So our approach is comprehensive, especially beneficial for women that are going through perimenopause and menopause, as we emphasize restorative nutrition, exercise, stress management, and sleep, okay? And our signature coaching program has helped hundreds of women over 40 lose anywhere between 10 to 50 pounds while maintaining a healthy metabolism, ensuring lasting results and lifelong habits, okay? So if you're struggling with traditional diet and exercise routines without seeing the desired outcome, our program might be the solution for you. It's tailored specifically for women seeking a significant, sustainable physical transformation. And they want to get to their results a lot faster as opposed to doing it on their own. So if you're interested in that, you know, you can send me a message. We can talk about that and see if our program would be a good fit for you. But I want to thank everybody for joining me today. And really, you know, staying with me on these helpful tips about sleeping. If you're watching the replay and you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. But I really hope this was really helpful. I'm wishing you all a very good night rest tonight and hoping that all of you can implement some of the strategies that we talked about today. Thank you. And yeah, if you're watching the replay, pop in the section, you know, what kind of things you stood out to you tonight? What kind of things can you start implementing? And of course, if you're in our 21-day challenge, we're working on these things right now. All right, ladies, you have a great day. Thank you so much for joining me and have an amazing, amazing Tuesday. Bye for now.